Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Well, I just wanted to do a quick little video. It might not be that quick, but we'll try to keep it short. About Beth and I took a trip. We have not taken any kind of a trip since we went to Olympic National Park out in the state of Washington back in 2022. Yeah, it was 2022. So it's kind of been a while, and we really both wanted to get away. Things have been really busy around here, so we only had a few days to do this. Beth works quite a bit. She gets Thursdays and Fridays off. So what we did was last week she took Wednesday off, so we had an extra day, and we went up to Door County in Wisconsin. So that is the state north of Illinois, if you're not familiar with the Midwestern United States. Both Illinois and Wisconsin are the west side of Lake Michigan. And so if you look at a map of Wisconsin, and I'm going to use my hand here to illustrate, you got over here on the east side, you got Lake Michigan, you got this peninsula sticking out here, and you got a bay here. So that peninsula is Door County, the Door Peninsula. This is Green Bay, the city of Green Bay right down here at the base. And Door County has been termed the Cape Cod of the Midwest, so kind of a similar feel to it without salt water. You got fresh water. And really kind of a touristy area. The most popular part is the Bayside, so you see a lot of stuff going on the Bayside. If you're more interested in kind of a little quiet, less frenetic type of trip, you've got the Lake Michigan side. So we stayed in Bailey's Harbor, which is, I don't know, about halfway to the end of the peninsula. And Bailey's Harbor is on a bay called Bailey's Harbor. And what's cool is it's a nice little town. It has some decent little restaurants, and not the frenetic thing that you get over on the other side of the peninsula. And there is a nature sanctuary there called the Ridges Sanctuary. And what the ridges are is, if you look at a satellite map of Bailey's Harbor, you will see at the northern end of the harbor, because the harbor kind of comes in from the south, you'll see these ridges, very, very distinct. And those ridges were formed by Lake Michigan as the water level dropped over the past several thousand years. At the end of the ice ages, Lake Michigan was actually called Glacial Lake Chicago, and much, much bigger and higher in water level. Well, as that water level dropped, it left ancient shorelines. And of course, if you go to the beach, you know there are sandbars built up. And what happened is the lake did that and left sandbars, and then receded and left more sandbars. You got a series of these ridges. And between those ridges are wetlands, and those are called swales. So, and the nice thing is, in the parking lot at the visitor center of this sanctuary, they have one level 2 EV charger. And so we were able to charge our Kia EV6 while we were taking a hike. And I should say, we had no trouble getting up there in the EV6. I charged to 100% the night before we left, so we charged at home. And we stopped outside Milwaukee at an Electrify America station to top off. The Kia, the EV6, all the Hyundai 800 volt architecture cars will charge from 10% to 80% in 20 minutes. So we probably would have made it all the way to Green Bay to the next Electrify America station without stopping, but I just decided to play it safe and charge in Milwaukee, which took like 10 minutes or so. And we got to Green Bay, and it took maybe 15 because we used a little bit more juice to Green Bay. And then once you get out on the peninsula, there are no more high-speed chargers except for a Tesla supercharger in Sturgeon Bay. And I don't have the adapter for that. I need an adapter for my Kia to plug into a Tesla supercharger. But oh well, worked out fine. It's about 70 miles or so, so a bit more than 100 kilometers from Green Bay up to Bailey's Harbor. Wasn't a huge issue, especially when we could charge at that sanctuary where we were taking a hike. So the sanctuary is, I mean, it's really beautiful, and I highly recommend it if you're up there, check this place out. By the way, I should mention the charger in the parking lot, free to use with a donation. and they don't ask for a huge donation. So you can go in here, take a hike. You're going to find a unique ecosystem with a combination of wetlands and wetland plants like these pitcher plants. There's a boardwalk through a wetland to get to the ridges, and the ridges each have a trail along the top of the ridge. And there are boardwalks across the swales, the wetlands, but the wetlands between those ridges, there are boardwalks. So you can cut over and kind of explore the whole place. But the other interesting thing about the Ridges Sanctuary, and I didn't know these existed, they have their what are called range lights. Now these are navigational aids. They're lighthouses, but it's a pair of lighthouses. And they're called leading lights, I believe, in Britain. So these things were built in the 1800s. There was a lot of shipping going on between Wisconsin and Chicago, and all as well as Milwaukee and Wisconsin. So ships would come in to Bailey's Harbor to pick up cargo. You know, they did a lot of logging and such here, so they'd come in to pick up lumber and such. And of course, they didn't have GPS. So Bailey's Harbor itself has reefs on either side as you come in from the south. And so if you hit a reef, that's going to really ruin your day. So they put these range lights in to guide ships into the harbor. And how does this work? Well, here is the upper range light. And this is a white light. And that white lighthouse is 39 feet, roughly 12 meters, higher than the lighthouse closer to the shore, the red one. And here they are together. So essentially from the lake, the white light is above the red light. And what the mariners did was navigate so that those lights lined up. Sort of reminiscent about how phase detect autofocus works, or a split image rangefinder in an old film SLR worked, right? Not the best analogy, but similar thing. You're trying to get those two lights in phase, and once you had that, you knew you could get into Bailey's Harbor without wrecking your boat. So at some point, the Coast Guard turned those lights off, of course, because, you know, modern navigation aids. But a restoration society got them to turn them back on. And actually it makes sense, because if you're out on a boat in the lake and you lose your electronics, you might have a rough time getting back into Bailey's Harbor, especially at night, without wrecking your boat. So, really cool. Didn't know about these things, but interesting thing. So, as far as equipment is concerned, Lumix G9 Mark II, the 14 to 140 millimeter lens, and I took the 9 millimeter Leica. When we went to the ranges, I didn't really use that lens. In the whole trip, I might have taken less than 5 pictures with the 9 millimeter. So, and really, if you don't have an ultra wide with you, you can do stitched panoramas, or pull out your phone and do a sweep panorama. So hopefully this was interesting to you. If it was, hit that thumbs up button. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. And if you want to help me out big time, I've got a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description, and a link to the page of Growing Community Media, the local papers that I do photojournalism for and are a nonprofit. And if you want to support me and local journalism, especially if you're in the Chicago area, please consider making a donation. I'm Todd Banner. I will see you next time.